everyone, and get ready to hit the road to Columbus, Indiana. I'm your cruise director, Kristen, and in this episode, we'll visit Fair Oaks Mall. I was really surprised by how nice this place is. It really reminded me of another mall we visited recently, Kiowa Mall in Ashland, Kentucky, with its silent and still early 90s aesthetic. On the morning I visited, it was snowing on and off. I wonder if that attracted more mall walkers than usual, because for a Friday morning right before opening, this place was full of them. What better way to start your day than with palm trees and blue LEDs masquerading as neon? The initial plans for Fair Oaks Mall began in 1982 when the developers, Shostak and Associates, were offered the opportunity to buy the former Bartholomew County 4-H Fairgrounds. This is where the mall partially derives its name, that and the groves of oaks that were on the property at the time. The sale was not completed until 1985, and the mall was announced with Kmart and Lazarus as anchors. Lazarus pulled out of the project in 1986 and was replaced by J.C. Penney and Elder Beerman. Demolition on the former fairground structures began when ground was broken on the mall in November 1988. The anchors opened at Fair Oaks Mall on August 9, 1990, just in time for back-to-school shopping. The mall's grand opening was held on November 2, 1990. Every mall I go to seems to have a unique defining characteristic, and at this one, it's the plants. They're everywhere, plants and skylights. Where you see the blue LED strips in the ceiling now used to be red, yellow, and blue neon. I learned recently that glass neon tubes, when they start to age, can begin leaking freon, and they're expensive to repair. They also use a lot of electricity. For that reason, a lot of malls have been doing what this one did, replacing them with LEDs to attempt to replicate the effect. This amusement center, part of the Time Out chain that was once owned by Sega, is an original tenant, and I have to guess that the sign is also original, which is a really neat thing to see. A fourth anchor was built in 1998 when Goodies opened, completing the fourth arm of the current cross-shaped design. The first sign of trouble for Fair Oaks Mall was in 1999 when the Outlets at Edinburgh opened, an open-air premium outlet center developed by Simon Properties. According to Google Maps, it's 14 minutes away. It offered upscale brands at a discount, which only served to hurt the department stores at Fair Oaks. Fair Oaks was sold to a new owner in 2003 who operated under the name Fair Oaks Mall Acquisition, LLC. At first, they did fairly well keeping the mall full. However, in 2009, Goodies had closed and Columbus's downtown had become the focus of local retail again after a partial teardown and repurposing of its then-dead Commons Mall. In 2013, the mall fell into foreclosure and was placed up for sheriff's sale. A new LLC, GJ Realty, became the new owners in 2014, comprised partially of the same individuals involved in the previous LLC who had owned the mall. Interestingly, based on some digging, the owners also appear to have owned Bristol Mall in Bristol, Virginia, which closed earlier this decade after a long downturn. By 2013, the occupancy of Fair Oaks had fallen to 60%. The Cummins Corporation, who make diesel engines and are based in Columbus, began using the former Goodies space for offices, which is why in the opening shots of this video you can see so many cars parked on the backside of the property. Kmart closed in 2014, and that end of the mall was remodeled to add a few more inline spaces and make way for Dunham Sports to occupy the former Kmart. JCPenney exited the mall on July 31, 2017, and in August 2018, the Carsons, which opened as Elder Beerman, closed along with all of Bon-Ton's other nameplates. The city had begun to take an interest in the now dying mall and in late 2018 completed a sale in conjunction with Columbus Regional Health and a local redevelopment fund called the Heritage Fund. They have announced plans to redevelop portions of the mall into a health and sports complex for the benefit of the city. While they have indicated their long-term plan is not to focus on retail, they have assured the current tenants that there will be a place for them in the new development.
The City of Columbus is finalizing plans to buy the Fair Oaks Mall and turn it into a community recreational and sports tourism complex. The Fair Oaks Community Development Corporation Board will close on the $5.9 million purchase this Friday. The remaining stores in the mall will operate as normal next year as the board finalizes plans for the complex.
We've seen this before with varying levels of action and success, and by March 2020 there doesn't seem to have been any movement on the conversion. On the other hand, it's hard to look at the mall being back in the hands of locals as anything other than a positive opportunity to enact change and prevent further deterioration, and I wish them luck. Let's take a side trip, shall we? This is what, from 1973 to 2008, was known as Commons Mall. Commons Mall was designed by the celebrated architectural firm of Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill, whose work can be seen all over the world, including the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. It has been renamed and repurposed as The Commons, a community space with meeting areas, a playground, and a small food court. This playground is incredible. I was here at about 8:30 in the morning on a weekday, so there weren't any kids playing, but I would have liked to have seen whether they go all the way to the top of this thing. The mall was partially demolished and used to span a total of 2 blocks in downtown Columbus. A large portion of the space has been repurposed into offices. This sculpture was part of the original mall and was commissioned by the lead architect Cesar Pelli, who felt that the space needed a giant toy, a whimsical clock-like structure that could be appreciated by both children and adults. What resulted was this sculpture called Chaos 1 by Swiss sculptor Jean Tinguely. It was fabricated mostly from scrap metal found in a former downtown junkyard. Initially, it had 13 different movements that over time have been turned off due to safety concerns for both the sculpture and the public. Although residents were skeptical at first, it became a landmark for most of Columbus, which is why it was preserved even if the building that once housed it was demolished. Thank you for watching. A gracious shout out to Phil Crawford and our other patrons for making this and future projects possible. Want to see more? Subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon for notification about future videos. I'm Kristen, my co-pilot is Ron, and we are Unicomm Productions. I'll see you next time.